I hope this message finds you well. There are some teachings going on, and the messages coming through to me today have so much to do with these large events in our world, like the election that just took place. And okay, what Spirit was saying is, from the moment God thought, which is also the moment of creation, God began to fragment itself into seemingly separate pieces without losing the wholeness of itself, which is why we call it creation. Because God can never be not whole, there is no lack. What was sent out as a fragment offshoot of the whole also remained within the wholeness of God. This is where the ideas of you only have that which you are willing to give to others comes from. So Spirit was speaking about the way we perceive the world. Over the election and the resultant outcome and the outcries of so many, which I was observing, there were so many who were thrilled and happy and felt elated that the appointment of Donald Trump back into office as president was going to make their lives better. And there were so many who believed the exact opposite, who were feeling like this was going to be destruction for them, and maybe for everyone. And it occurred to me, it's hard for me to get over, but how incredibly different our perspectives are on the very same issue. So I did a little research myself, not a lot, but a little bit, and I listened to some of the things that Kamala Harris had said pertaining to her ideals for America. And I have followed Trump for some time, and listened to what he says. And even that, when he speaks, I don't hear what those who oppose or are against him hear. I hear something else, which is another thing. So when I looked at it objectively, the goals for humanity, for the United States, the people here, are really not any different as they're spoken. The goals are the same. It is about making our lives better, okay? It seems like there are just very different ways of going about. I might think we should do X, Y, and Z, and somebody else thinks we should do A, B, and C, but the goal's the same. We just have different approaches to achieving that goal, if the goals truly are the same. So this is where my mind was when this information started coming in, was how differently we see things. And what Spirit said was, God fragmented itself into all of these different pieces that God could experience on an experiential level. Everything, every isolated thing from 8 billion different perspectives and more, because, we still have trees and all of this stuff here too. What does it look like from the vantage point of a tree? What does it look like from the perspective of a leaf that has dropped off the tree and is floating through the air, for example, and the grass and the birds and everything? So all of these things are pieces of God having the experience that is the experience of a rabbit, having the experience that is the experience of a human being, of a tree, of a cloud, of the air and the wind itself, okay? So we cannot expect to have the same views about how to achieve a goal. I think it's important that the goal is the same. That's what we really need to focus on. that the goal is the same. It is to better our lives, to make life more joyous for the human being in the United States, and eventually, all of the world. And hopefully the countries where those people are that are not in the United States have first and foremost the upliftment of their people in mind, the betterment of the lives of their people, okay? So we're all born where we're born, and we live where we live, and all of this alters the way we see the world, our perspective, our perception of things. And that perception becomes our truth. Though, to be the human today, we're really asked to hold an understanding that I am not right, R-I-G-H-T. I have a perspective, and I have an opinion based on that perspective of how a thing should go, what a thing should look like. But I also must understand, I must know that that perspective changes because there are 8 billion aspects of God as human beings on this planet. So, it's the information coming in is just that, the issues, even the issues, depending on where you focus your attention within an individual issue, abortion, for example, everyone who's upset that it was taken from the federal level and now is observed at a state level, where a state gets to determine how they want to handle that. At least that's my understanding. There are good aspects to that, and there may be less than good aspects to that, depending on how you see it. And why do I say that? Because we have to look at it from every possible angle, and there are 8 billion angles to look at it from. Keep that in mind. 8 billion human beings on the planet means, hey, settle, means 8 billion angles to every idea, every thought, every concept. So what does it mean to the doctors if abortion is regulated or not regulated at all? What does that mean to the doctors? Are they then mandated to perform abortions even if they're not comfortable doing that? What does it mean at that level, if it's federal, in the hands of the federal government to decide these things or not decide these things, right? What does it look like to funds? Where do the funds come from? How does it affect insurances? How do those things affect the people paying for the insurances? There are all these different angles, all these different ways of looking at one issue. And this is where the division comes from. I might be focused on one aspect of that issue, and someone else is focused on another aspect of that issue. But the issue itself has all these different cause and effects, okay? And I think because we get stuck on the one aspect of the issue that we're focused on, we don't see all of the other effects, okay? So this is where we are right now. This is what drives this polarization, this duality that we are in as a human being on this planet at this time. But Spirit is asking us to hold in our minds and in our hearts the understanding that there is no right. There is no right because there are 8 billion. There is no right, no one right. Because what is right for this person is not right for the other almost 8 billion, right? What's right for me is not right for everybody else that is within that 8 billion. So we have to be very careful how we attempt to design laws and regulations. I have my own beliefs about a thing, and that is how I choose to live my life. Is it right for me to oppose my will onto another human being? And that's what we need to look at, right? The idea of a free choice, it's a great idea. When does it become a bad idea? You know, if you have an individual who has had 3 or 4 abortions and this is allowed to persist, at what point does it become a bad idea? And there are those who would say, well, who would do that? And I'm sure it has happened, right? The woman who believes she needs an abortion because it's threatening her life, maybe to carry this child, or whatever the case may be, who am I to tell her what is right for her? The downside to that is, how many people will claim that it is harmful to their body or that it is a threat to their life and have an abortion based on that claim and it not be true? You see, there are all these different things going on here. And each and every one of us, all we can do is the very best we can do. The very best we can do. That's all we can. So as we continue throughout time on earth, we have to keep in mind that there is no right here. There may be what's right for me, but there is no right when it comes to saying what is right for another human being. Do we still need to have laws and regulations and guidelines? Unfortunately, that is so. Unfortunately, until everyone is a more Christed being, we're going to have some kind of guidelines. Until everyone is looking out for the best interest of all of us, and truly that's the place that they're coming from. Until that is the case, we will need to have some kind of system in place that says, wait a minute, this really is not a good idea. And, you know, if you cross this line, drinking and driving, let's say, for example, you know, should there be a law about drinking and driving? Well, drinking and driving, there are a lot of people who can drink and drive and never have an issue, but there's going to be someone who does. And do we need to penalize and punish those who take other people's lives into their hands irresponsibly, especially in a repeated case? And I might say, for me, there's no law needed. However, should someone injure another human being because they were intoxicated and driving a car, the penalty would be quite severe. And here again, we're enforcing then a penalty, right? We're saying that someone needs to be punished. So we can't completely go without having consequence in the form of cause and effect. And that's maybe the most healthy way to go, is cause and effect, right? Though the issue with this is, a lot of times these drinking and driving violations don't cause injury to others, but what ends up happening is they pay huge fines. Where does that money go? What are we using it for? So it has become something other than protection for other human beings. It's become, I just heard the word racketeering, but I don't know that that's correct. But it's a way of the government taking funds from people when they do things that the government says they shouldn't do. Well, what we should be looking at is, am I putting others in harm's way by acting out this behavior? That's where the concern should be. Not, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a fine and I'm going to this, that, and the other thing. It's who might you kill or injure if you're impaired when you're driving your car. Now, if we look at that situation too, how many different things are involved? How many different things impair us while we're driving a car? you know? At some point, humanity will rise to the level that we assume personal accountability. Once every human being on the planet assumes personal accountability, this will be a very different place to be. We're just not there yet. We're not there yet. And unfortunately, for some, they still require the iron fist. It's just the way it is. I don't personally like that is true, but I see that it is so. You know, it may not be true for me, but I see that there are others that really don't care about how they're affecting the rest of us. They just don't care. It's not even a thought, you know, about how is this going to affect the world I'm in and the people in it. And that's just not a thought for some people yet. And it's okay. That's where they are. However, again, back to this. So we have all these different perspectives because we have all these different experiences happening on this planet. And my experience is not the same as anyone else's. It may come close, but it's never going to be exactly the same, because then there wouldn't need to be 8 billion of us. Okay? And then others beyond that we don't even think about. So that's just this planet. So Spirit had this message today. I'm just delivering it as it came into me. And my heart is with all of us as we navigate the world going forward, as we acclimate to the changes. We are ascending. That's what's happening. The light is growing stronger, and the Christ within each individual human is waking up, not all at the same time and not all at the same rate of speed. We must know that. And we must not condemn others for where they are in their ascension. Not everyone is going to be at the Christ level, right? That's why Christ, the one we call Jesus, was so amazing to us, because he was at that higher level. And it takes time for us to achieve that. And so we're all somewhere on the path of achieving that Christedness, somewhere. I will tell you that hate is not close to God. Judgment and condemnation of another human being is not close to God, okay? No matter how you may justify it in your mind. Condemnation and hate towards another human being, it does not draw you closer to God. It does not draw you closer to who you are in truth. It's a turning away from that truth of the divine love that we are. So no matter who sits in the office of president or how a lot of people think things should be done right now, doesn't mean we have to lose the truth of us in the process of disagreement on how we achieve a goal. The goal is still to make life better for every American, and then hopefully every person on this planet. And am I focusing now on putting us first in America? If you're an American, yeah. If you're an American, help out your fellow Americans. This is where we are on the planet, and we're here for a reason. And if you help out Americans and then choose to help out somewhere else, great. I see a lot of frustration happening here in the United States because the people in power have chosen to, in the eyes of Americans, give so much to people who are coming here from somewhere else, while we have Americans who are struggling. And that's a great frustration for many people. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have an open heart for everyone. And it's not prejudice to say, take care of your home first. Okay? Take care of your home first so that you're strong and can give to others. That's common sense. And other people will say that's not common sense, you see? And it's okay that they think that. But my perspective is take care of your community and then allow your community to take care of other communities, right? Because that makes a community, a country strong, a state strong, makes you strong. When you are strong, you have to give to others. So again, that's just my perspective. And everyone is going to have a different perspective. It's okay. Do you have to be friends with people who differ in their ideals so greatly? No, you don't have to. You don't have to be friends with people that want to criticize you and belittle you for the way you think and see the world. You don't have to be friends with them. We are called by Jesus, by Christ, to love one another. Even as I love you, he said. What that means is you love them in spite of, beyond the mind thoughts, ideas, beliefs, concepts that the human buys into here. What we love in the other is knowing that they are perfect without all of this stuff that's going on, all of this environment. They are perfect as they were created in the image and likeness of God, as are we. That's what we love. We can love them and say, I love you because I know you're equal to me. I know that we are the same. However, because you see things this way, I'm exiting because I just can't align with that. But we cannot allow hatred to grow and fester, because all that does is hurts us, and it hurts us. Whenever we're hurting someone else, we're actually hurting ourselves. And it's true, because like it or not, there's going to be a moment when that hurt you will have to experience it. It's just cause and effect. I'm not going to say it's karma, but it's cause and effect. Okay? So I hope this message finds you well again. In peace and in love, may you be blessed.